Once again, this is the Juice Man 3941 coming back to you to try to finish up this video for episode 82 Secret Shit. Once again, thank you Sony Network for crapping completely out when I'm trying to broadcast shit. This has happened before and it's utterly ridiculous. I don't know why the connection timed out. I don't know what happened. So if you're watching on the video and it abruptly ends, my subscribers, just keep watching on the next video that I'm uploading now. It's absolutely ridiculous that this continues to happen. I've even called them and reported it and they'd say, we don't know what's going on. Back to my secret shit. Sony doesn't know what's going on with their fucking server. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. But as I was saying, this whole secretive attitude in the industry really wears me the fuck out. I'm so tired of them not telling us things. I'm so tired of IGNs and those people in the world like them not going back and finishing the story. If I was IGN and working for them and wrote the story, I'd be like, I would go to my editor and say, hey, can I go back? Can I go to Bungie and ask them what the fuck's going on? But I bet you they would say, no, you can't, because they've got money with us and we advertise and all this stuff, and we can't do that, or they may not give us any more money. And it is very money driven. Everything is about greed and money. But I don't understand why the publishers and the developers and everyone else, is basically snowballing us. They won't tell us anything. They don't tell us the truth. When Destiny got caught red-handed with the stuff, with the throttling EXP stuff, and all they said was, hey, the game wasn't running the way that we intended it to, we're sorry, boom, we fixed it. But then we also made it was harder to get whatever they did to kind of backdoor that, and then that got caught and they had to fix it again. All we get is like Ubisoft. It's the same thing with Unity. It was Unity comes out, we're sorry. Maybe, we were sorry the game didn't work for you. Blah, 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 blah. Here's a patch. Here's what you'll get for free. Even though, okay, that's bullshit. That's a Band-Aid. That fixes nothing. Why don't you just tell us, hey, we pushed Unity out the door. We really didn't put a whole lot of development time into it. We actually didn't test it. We didn't QA test it. We didn't do any of that stuff. We just threw it out there because we had to make money, and that's what it is. But see, they can't ever tell the truth. They have to be so secretive about every little thing they do. They can't tell us the truth. And if they don't tell us the truth, they just don't tell anything to say anything at all. DICE doesn't even have a customer service number. You cannot contact them. Because they know. They would be inundated with calls. And that's why. And I think it's a shame that the gaming industry is more secretive than our own government. That's really sad. And you would literally have to go to the government website and get the Freedom of Information Act pamphlet thing and fill it out and then go resubmit it and say, I want to know why this was done. And you would have to make Bungie or Activision or either one, and I still think Bungie had everything to do with it because they wanted to make money off the stupid Eververse, even though it's all cosmetic, and I showed that in another video, that nothing in the Eververse actually helps your character or gets you ahead in the game. Not in Crucible, not against the environment. And it's weird to me to see that. And to go, like, you would have to actually get a Freedom of Information Act paper, fill it out, and go through the government in order to get that. But you see, video games not really regulated. So that might not even work at all. I just wish there was just more transparency, It's just like the guy that won the For Honor contest because he knew about a fucking exploit that apparently Ubisoft knew about, but didn't want to fix it. But they still let the guy win. It's like, no, he cheated. That guy's a cheater. He's not good at For Honor. The guy that won that big old thing. No, you're not good at the game, dude. You found an exploit in order to beat everyone. You're a cheater. You're not good at the game. You were never good at the game. I don't recognize you as a For Honor player, and I suck at the game. But I'm telling you, you don't deserve that. But this whole idea where EA cannot tell us how much stuff was sold, how long it take to develop. We always hear about this stuff after the fact. Somebody that used to work for the company leaks the information. You know, the stuff about Destiny 2, how they rebooted everything, and then they hadn't rebooted all of 2 and was like, okay, we screwed up. We got 16 months to fix this. That came out, and it ends up being true. But the point is, it's always from a third party. And sometimes you don't even know if that's really true. So it's this whole scenario of the whole secret shit that really pisses me off. It's so difficult to find the sales numbers on something. It's always how much the company shipped, but never how much they sold. Because if EA was to come out and say, well, Star Wars Battlefront 2 only sold 2.5 million copies of the 7 million we shipped, that goes to show you that the game failed. It just failed. What's interesting, though, here's the side note. Smaller companies, they don't have any problem doing it. Did you know, like, Darksiders 2, which is one of my top 10 favorite games. Darksiders 1 is amazing, too. I've got both on the PS4. But Darksiders 2 sold, like, right around, like, 1.5 million copies, something like that. Or it might have been 2.5 mil or something like that. But because they had a much more bigger budget and a bigger studio and different things, even though it was considered mildly successful, they didn't. But the publisher didn't think it was successful enough, which is why, you know, Volition's kind of gone. Not Volition, but what's it called? What's the name of the thing? They had the guy with the. Anyway, the company that made it. I'd have to look it up on Wikipedia, but they were kind of closed, and it's kind of a shame that we have smaller companies that are more transparent, because to them, you know, they don't look at like we're competing with anybody. I can look at a game like the Technomancer. Clearly the game didn't sell like 4 or 5 million, 7 million copies, but it sold, and it sold well enough for them to continue further their next project. And it's interesting to me because I can look at a game like Technomancer and have put dozens and dozens of hours into it, and it's a much better game than a lot of the stuff that's coming out now from the AAA industry. This whole secretive stuff that they've done with the game, with the industry, where they won't tell us things, even when, and it's sometimes even when asked, you know, why does everything got to be so hidden? It's like you're so concerned about someone coming along and seeing something you're doing, and then add it to their own game, and then they beat you to the punch, which you know, most, like Ubisoft, with every game they make is a gimmick anyway. But my point is like, but who cares, you know? Because if you make a first-person shooter, so many have already been done that you're not going to do anything new. Nothing about it's new. Like the new Wolfenstein games, the new one that came out, that was single player, the year prior or the year and a half prior. Yes, they were really badass, like first-person shooters, but they've been done. Nothing in that game was unique or new or anything. None of it was. If you make an open-world roleplay game, it's been done. Okay, you've got Skyrim, you've got Elder Scrolls Online, you've got The Witcher 3. You've got, you know, the Kingdom Come Deliverance. You've got, and on and on and on. You know, it's been done, right? So nothing you do in your game is going to be like, oh, this is really new, because it's not. Because you already have that template. So why be so secretive about stuff? It's great that you let stuff leak and you show previews and you go in magazines and you say this and you say that, and you're going to show us your game eventually or put it in beta or early access. But why so you know, in the paraphrase of Joker, instead of saying serious, it's like, why so secret? You know, and it wears me out, because when I want to find out real empirical data on your game and this and that, who made the decision to do this, who thought this was a good idea, like with the loot boxes in Battlefront 2 and things like that, clearly it was EA and DICE. You can't say that EA did it and DICE didn't want to do it, or DICE did it and EA didn't. They both did it together. DICE was like, this is what we're going to do, and EA's like, that makes money, and there you go. They're both to blame. But no one has gone back to DICE and said, why did you implement this pay-to-win bullshit? Why? Why'd you do it? No one has gone back to them and ask that. And if I could sit the guy down from DICE that was on the Angry Joe show and ask them, I'd ask them 3 questions. First question would be, why did you implement a loot box system like this, knowing that it was pay to win? 2, who told you all to do this? Was it your all's idea or EA's idea? And 3, my third question is, why did you all think this was a good idea in the first place? Because you just fucked it all up for everybody, And I just wish that the industry, the publishers and the developers weren't so tight-lipped about stuff. They're not tight-lipped when their game's about ready to launch. But if that game fails, nothing. I'm playing Evolve, for example. And Evolve, this whole secret shit crap that the industry keeps pulling, like with Evolve. Like, who thought, I like Evolve, but who thought it was a good idea to start selling DLC for the game before the game was even out? You were talking about DLC. As a journalist, why don't you all go back in? How you doing, Paul? Thanks for joining me, Kid Flash. Appreciate it. This is the Gaming Roundtable. Thanks for joining. This episode is 82. It's called Secret Shit. I'm talking about how the gaming industry, the publishers and developers just won't tell us things. They keep too much from us. And I'm not talking about their game. I'm talking about when shit blows up in their face, but no one goes back and talks to them about it. A real journalist would go back to Bungie or Activision and say, why did you all throttle the EXP in Destiny 2? And you got caught. Who was the person that thought that was a good idea to try to make more money off the Eververse? Why did you do that? Thank you, Kid Flash. Why don't IGN or somebody in that side of things, you quote-unquote journalists, go back and follow that story? How come no one has sat DICE down or somebody from EA and said, who thought of this loot box idea that was pay to win? And it was pay to win, because your $80 version gave you a bunch of stuff too, that was give you a leg up in that game. Who thought that was a good idea? Who thought that the progression system should be like that, right? It's World War II Call of Duty. Hey, you got these loot boxes that drop out of the sky. It's like, you look at Battlefield 4, you look at Battlefield 3, look at Bad Company, look at DICE. All your progression was always tied into when you leveled up. And the game, those were super successful games, but at some point, they were like, that's not going to work. We need to make more money off of it because your $60 now is just your entry point. But why are you so secretive about stuff? Why is it that you can't tell us? You always say, hey, we shipped 7 million units. We shipped 10 million units. Okay, well, how many did you sell? People who make refrigerators ship millions of units, right? But no one they can, the refrigerator company, I could actually find out how many they sold that year. But in games, they don't tell us. They won't tell us. And I don't know if it's because even if the game is successful, they don't tell us. They just say how many they shipped. That doesn't make any sense to me, right? It makes no sense. And it's no different than Microsoft saying that they can't turn off DRM when they could, when they were directly asked. Again, they're just too damn secretive. It's no different to go back to Aliens Clone Marines and fucking Randy Bitchford, and I'm calling him Bitchford because he's a fucking dweeb, and he has no business being in the gaming industry, and I'll tell you why. Because instead of making Aliens, you should just fucking make Borderlands 3 and be over it. Instead, the last several games that they worked on basically failed miserably. Dude, just give us Borderlands. That's what we fucking want. But why were you so secretive about Aliens Clone Marines? People asked you direct questions about what happened here and what happened there, and you danced around it. You never really answered them. And then no one really, really went back and sat down and talked to Sean Murray at Hello Games and said, hey, Sean, remember that time when you said there's going to be multiplayer in your No Man's Sky? Remember that time when you said this? Why did you say yes when you clearly it wasn't in there? It's still not in there. Why did you lie about that? Were you told by Sony to lie about it? As a journalist, you have the responsibility. As a journalist, you have the responsibility, if you're a game journalist, to go back and follow up on the story. but you don't do it because you know it's a money thing. You know you're getting paid to like talk to them, to review their game. It's not right. If I was a journalist, I'd go straight right back to those companies and be like, hey, what happened? Why did this happen? And this whole idea of the entire industry with wall after wall after wall thrown up and you stonewall us and you stonewall us gamers, you know, but it's funny because last year it blew up in your face. Destiny 2's player base is at an all-time low. Division's player base is almost non-existent. For Honor's player base is almost non-existent. Star Wars Battlefront 2, right, had an upsurgence of players, and then you put your microtransactions back in where you could pay for stuff, and it dropped like a dime. Yeah, you can still find games, but my point is you do not have the same player base as you did in Star Wars Battlefront 1, the first one you came out a couple years back. That's my point. You keep doing things and it's blowing up in your face. All that we're asking as gamers, all that I'm asking, all that we are asking, all the people who sit down at the gaming roundtable with the juiceman, the guy, the gamer that tells you the way it is to stop being so secretive about your shit. I don't care if you got 20 games in the pipeline. Okay, you got Anthem in the pipeline, BioWare and EA. Big fucking deal. It's a third-person shooter. You can fly around like Iron Man. It's got loot systems. There's a lot of games like yours. It actually looks a shit ton like Mass Effect 3. Or not Mass Effect 3, but Mass Effect Andromeda, just better. But my point is you're not doing anything in that game that hasn't been done. It's got a loot system? Check. It's got characters wearing power armor? Check. That's been done. That's been done. It's been done in Halo. It's been done in a ton of games, right? Check. Got that. Huge open world explorer? Check. It's been done. So nothing about your game is really innovative or new. It may be done in a way that's different, you know, with but you're still taking cover, you're still shooting, and the difference is you get to fly around. And that's going to be probably the sell point of your game, the ability to fly around. But that's been done. And it just sucks to me as a gamer that you all, as publishers and stuff, think that your game is that unique and special when it's not. You can't make a modern shooter without looking at COD or Battlefield. You can't. Those are the big dogs. If you make something that's vastly different, it'll fail. So you gotta make it similar. There's no reason to be secretive about it. And there's no reason to be secretive about how much you've sold. And there's no reason you to clam up and don't let people talk to you when your shit blows up in your face. Anyway, I digress. Stop being so secretive. Journalists, stop. Finish the story. Don't just leave it lying when the game blows up in their face. Don't just stop. Continue. Go talk to them. Ask them, why did this happen? This has been episode 82 of the Gaming Roundtable. Secret shit. Thanks for sitting at the round table, my friends, and my knights in the gaming industry, so to speak, or my knights who are gamers, I meant. Please subscribe. Thanks, Kid Flash, for tuning in for the short time that you did. I wish you would have stuck around. But anyway, I do appreciate you all tuning in. I want you to, if you like what I have to say, please hit the like button. If you don't like what I have to say, please comment, or comment if you like. Please hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 20 subscribers this year. I know that's a very small number, but we can do it. My knights in the gaming world, we can totally do that, sitting down at the round table and having a good discussion. And today was about the secret shit that the industry pulls, and it's a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, this has been episode 82 of the Gaming Roundtable, and as always, gamers, good gaming.